Hello, and welcome to the next podcast for the Midgards channel. Tonight's going to be a special one as we kick off our roundtable discussions. This will be more or less us just riffing off each other on a certain topic, and the peanut gallery is behind the camera, of course, willing to throw out information, historical facts, and other ideas. So tonight we will be talking about one of the most prevalent things in heathenism is the loving factor that most heathens like to take charge. And how you get a group of 3 heathens together, you end up with 12 opinions.
I like how that number keeps going up
every time I say it. Yep. Because every time I meet someone new, it's just like, oh, he's got like 5 opinions of his own on the same topic, and they all contradict each other.
Don't forget to add half an opinion for the little acorn.
Like I said, peanut gallery. Acorn gallery?
Yes!
I can see it. Hey, Acorn?
Yes.
I forgot to get water before we started.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
So,
I need water.
There is a huge, I wouldn't say divide, but almost like a cancer. I mean, it's weird in the heathen community. It's just this growth of heathens who want to be only leaders and don't understand that not everybody is meant to lead the pack.
Well, even then, a lot of the people that want to be leaders are very much not
alphas.
They're not alphas, and they don't learn that there are times that, you're not the end-all, be-all. They're too new. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. I got distracted for a second. They're too new, so they're trying to lead, and they don't have the knowledge that they need to be able to lead. So they cause a lot of missteps and folly within their own groups instead of taking advice from other groups and learning how to follow for a minute before they lead.
Yeah.
They don't learn to walk before they run.
Right. And it kind of comes into the sense of like the huge amount of people who say they are hosting the Althing.
Oh.
Now, it's a beautiful concept, but an Althing means all tribes go to one thing. And there is no Althing for North America.
No.
We do not have one kindred that is gracious enough to host for literally every single other kindred that wants to show up.
We recently had somebody ask on our comment section.
Thank you, by the way, for the first comment.
Absolutely, you rock. And I felt horrible when I had to tell them, we don't know when it is. We didn't even know it was happening.
Yeah.
Which is what inspired us to do this video, because it was one of those moments of, okay, we know TAC has an Althing, and it's usually in Minnesota. And then we know of nothing else. We know Missouri has an Althing. Not an Althing. It's an all-moot type of thing. But even then, that got canceled this year because of some stuff.
Right.
So,
to get more people butting heads and letting personal life get in the way of...
Oh, no, that was just pure stupidity on the hosting part.
Oh, even better. Because that's the point. Like, a moot is just a meetup. That's what it really means. It means just kindreds getting together to just have a good time, hash maybe some problems out between each other, but nothing too serious. But a thing... It's almost like people are seeming to forget what the thing really is. It is when you lay down laws, when there are crimes brought up from one kindred or one man to another woman or between people.
Right.
That is the end-all, be-all of the heathen community meetups.
But see, there will never be a cohesive Althing because there's too many people, there's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And so no one is ever going to agree on anything.
Right, and exactly that kind of too many cooks thing. It makes a lot of sense because with all these heathen communities, none of them want to listen to the other person's rules. Not because the rules are bad, but because they didn't make them up.
Yep.
So then do you almost think that it would be better to more or less integrate all kindreds in a area under one banner? Taking multiple kindreds and uniting them as one.
I could see that.
That way you have less representation at an Althing, and, less people, or...
Less cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, less chiefs having to govern over small groups of people as one to govern over a majority.
So like a couple people from Missouri, a couple people from Nebraska.
It'd be a very hard thing to choose those people because a lot of people would bicker about it.
Oh, yeah.
But even the thing is,
we bicker about it.
Right, even with a moot or the Scottish clan meets, the leader represented many, many people. But again, it would be nigh impossible to get people to just shut up and listen. Oh, well, we've talked about it. We decided this. Well, I don't like that ruling. So then what do? We don't live in a time anymore where we can be like, okay, fine, we go into war then. this kindred and this kindred, these clans are now going to go to actual combat because one refuses to listen.
Right.
I almost wish, in a sense, there has to be some way to bring that back. I feel like there has to be a way for a kindred to be like hostile takeover, in a sense.
Well, I mean, I guess technically there is, because when two kindreds nowadays seem to have a problem, they go to keyboard war.
Right.
Well, not even that. They go to steal their people war.
Right, exactly. And sadly, some of the times those wars started by the other kindred make people come to another kindred.
But I'm not even talking. The first war we heard of,
Yeah.
a different kindred did that to that kindred.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
And because that kindred that we had an issue with, ultimately, they were the ones to tell us about this and were telling us, don't be friends with these people. They do this. Now we're friends with those people, and now we understand why that happened.
Yeah.
And
Don't be an Ossipope.
Ossipope is not a thing. Oh my goodness. I hate the term Ossipope because it's so accurate. And when people act like that, that's why there can never be an Althing, because there's always at least one person in every community that has to be the Ossipope.
Yep.
And that is not how this works.
It has absolutely nothing to do with the way the gods, the religion, or our people have ever done things. Yeah. One of my things I wish we need to bring back, in a sense, is not Homgang, or in the sense of like you kill the other person, but just a pure combat. Two people enter the ring, they have like the 3 shields and the weapons if they so choose.
Oh hell, don't even do that. Just make it bare knuckle fist fighting.
Right, or Glima, or wrestling, something.
Yeah.
The two leaders of the group, or champions in a sense, because like with
Or
our
the
group,
people who have a beef with each other.
yeah, like in our group we do not have a chieftain. We all like to rule cohesively. But if there was a literal fighting match going on, there are specific people in the kindred, they'd be like, yeah, I don't want to get punched in the face.
We play to our
Come on.
strengths.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to sacrifice Chris on this.
Right, I'm a trained fighter, let's do this. I would have no problem getting in the ring with many other kindred leaders and throwing them to the ground to prove that the gods have chosen our kindred and our ways to supply truth and justice.
Right.
And if I get beat, I'm man enough to know I was beat. I will now step down and I will listen to what the other person had to say and I will accept it.
Right.
And that's difficult. I get it. As a person with a huge ego and a love for confrontation, it's very hard to just sit back and be like, you know what, you're right, I'm wrong, let me just step back and let you lead.
Right.
But if the gods make a choice, they've made a choice.
Well, but that point, the whole ego thing is, again, why we will never have an Althing. Everybody can say, yeah, we're having an Althing. But if you're going to say, hey, we're having an Althing, where's our invite?
Yeah.
Where's the information? I had to find out from 4 different sources that it's in Arizona in September. This is not okay.
Which is crazy because looking around through most of the other Facebook groups and kindreds, apparently the fact that we've been going on for,
Like 6 or 7 years now.
right, we're nigh on a decade. And that's apparently, from all the other heathens I've talked to, almost impossible for any kindred to last over 10 years. We're also one of the biggest. 10 members. And it's growing.
10 members without defectors.
Exactly.
We have yet to have anybody be like, you know what, we hate you, or that we don't agree with this. I mean, Zach stepped back for a while, but that had nothing to do with the group. That had everything to do with family.
It was all family and life.
He came back.
And he's a lone wolf. He knows at any moment if he steps back into this kindred, he is as if he never left.
Yep.
And that,
We praise him as a god to new members.
oh yeah, because he's awesome.
He's
out there
awesome. He's
doing his
great.
own thing. That's the Viking way.
Yes.
Taking the world like the oyster it is, cracking it open, and making that pearl your treasure. And that's one of the things we all kind of strive for, which is why, again, I mean, eventually it's going to come to the point where we're going to start our own Althing. But we're actually going to reach out. We're going to tell all the other people, hey, I know it's in the Midwest. Beautiful thing about the Midwest, though, equal distance to every sea border.
Right.
And we've all got enough connections around the nation that it'd be just like, hey, we're doing this, spread the word.
Right. And we have beautiful things like Skype and phones and stuff.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be there anymore to still be a part of it. or video, like we're doing right now for everyone else on YouTube. We just think the world needs to be more connected. It would help so much if people could at least listen and talk to one another. The agreement part's going to come way further down the road.
But it would go towards a cohesive heathen community instead of this
clusterfuck.
Yes. That is a much more blunt way of me trying to figure out what I was trying to say.
And that's true. That's exactly what it is. It's 1,000 different groups wanting to do their own thing instead of getting together and benefiting the community as a whole.
And that's the exact infighting that made it so easy for the Christian world to come in and take over the heathen world. Because we were all too busy fighting each other and not fighting our enemy.
Right.
And our enemy now is not to just per se the church. Our enemy now is the society around us, where people have become just so weak and absolutely okay with forfeiting their personal rights and their personal freedom in the search for comfort. Life will never be comfortable.
Or in the search of not offending people.
Right.
Our culture has become so anti-offense. My favorite meme right now is, how did the generation that grew up on Family Guy, The Simpsons, etc. become so sensitive? Like, we can't, it's almost like half of our generation can't take a joke anymore.
Right.
And it's so to the point where, when I meet new people, I don't know what to say. I'm afraid to talk.
Right, because they're immediately going to judge you as, like, a racist, a bigot, a warmonger, a violent person.
I never tell people I'm pagan up front because of that.
Oh yeah, when you tell people you're heathen, one, they're either confused because heathenism means something very opposite and different. Most heathens are, it's just an old Christian word and an old Roman word for farmer or backwoods. Paganos was the original word for yokel, pretty much. But it's an interesting thing to think about, because eventually I would like to feel that things are going to change. That's because, again, huge ego and an optimist.
Well, I mean, look at Iceland. You know, paganism is the second largest religion in the country, and it's rising significantly. You don't hear about that in America, even though it probably is somewhere along the same lines. You know, and if we could all get together, people will take notice and see what we're doing and seeing the difference that we're making. You know, so we really have to start banding together, you know, nationwide.
And live by example.
Yeah.
Oh, that is such a huge thing that people falter on, is live by example. If you want to talk all this smack and call people out and constantly be like, oh, I'm more superior than you, then fucking put them up and let's go.
Right.
We'll find out who's superior.
Well, it's like people who are in this religion and say that they're also Viking reenactors at the same time, but they don't mesh the two sides together, so it makes no sense. They're not completely accurate, and it's like they're making a mockery of our religion at the same time.
Again, we have lofty goals here. Things like with a Viking festival or a Viking fair, however you want to call it, yes, vendors should be there. Selling of Viking swords and shoes, beautifully made gowns, apron dresses, and tunics is a wonderful thing. But the most important thing is at the end of the night that everyone comes together and they tell the stories of the sagas. They speak emotion and honor to one another. And they share mead and they share love and they share food. Because that's what the gods taught us.
Yeah.
To really take in a guest and a wanderer and just make them feel like they're at home. And nothing makes me feel more at home than sitting around a fire or sitting around with my friends and my family that I've made and just telling stories about the gods. And some new ones. Look forward to that. One of the things we're doing here is we want to start writing new sagas. There's no reasons for the only sagas available to be ancient. The gods still speak to us. There are many new stories because there's been thousands of years with unwritten down sagas.
Yeah. And sagas are just written by humans.
That's all we are. We're just humans trying to tell the stories of the gods and live poetically through them.
Or are we?
That's a whole nother video.
That's never going to be a video. But yeah. Trying to remember what some of the points points we were talking about before we started filming.
And it's going to be one of the things with these new roundtable discussions that we'll be going through is the fact that it's not going to be as simply like blunt bullet points adjacent.
It won't be so much of us talking to the camera. We wanted you guys to feel like you were actually a part of the discussion as well.
Yeah. And that's why we're looking so forward to the comments.
Yeah, because we have some fantastic just roundtable discussions where we're like, why is nobody filming this? This needs to be shown because, you know, we can have our different opinions and build on our thoughts on the matter by listening to each other's opinions, you know, without talking directly to you guys with bullet pointed lists of discussion topics. You know, it's much more natural and fluid, you know, doing the roundtable.
Yeah.
And it's less stressful because we don't forget anything.
Because we just tangent and we're having a discussion, so tangents are okay.
And as many of our videos go, we tangent anyways. Yeah. But now it's just nothing but a tangent, so we don't feel bad for being like, whoa!
Let's see. We talked about how it was in Arizona and none of us knew.
Yeah.
And that we can't ever figure out the Althing and where it is and when it's going to be. You had a couple points you wanted to mention, but you kept going, nope, saving it for the video.
And then I forgot. Because I'm about as smart as an egg in a tack of nails.
Sweet Jesus.
I got my days. The individuality, or like the lone wolves in the group.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we have ours, but he's still a part of our kindred.
Yeah.
Zach is still very much a part of us.
Yeah.
But so many of these new heathens, they don't want it to be in a kindred. They just want to be by themselves because they think that that's their power. And sure, some people do work better by themselves, but you can only go so far. You're only going to learn what you read, and if you don't have anyone else to tell you why that's a good read, or why you're choosing the wrong book, or how heavily influenced by other cultures or religions this book is, then you're never going to get any better at what you're doing.
Right. Well, and what a lot of people don't realize is that this is a community-based religion. This is not something that you can easily do by yourself, because you have to have that support. You have to have the ability to connect with people and share experiences and share thoughts and grow. Otherwise, like you said, you become stagnant.
Yeah.
And you just get stuck, and then you get stuck in your own head, and that's when we get osopopes.
Yep.
Well, and if you think about it, the community aspect of it, you know, if you take somebody who knows how to make clothes, you throw them out in the woods, they're going to make enough clothes to stay warm in the winter, you know, but what are they going to do? They're not going to build a house because they don't know how. They're not going to chop down their own trees because they don't have the tools. You know, we each bring something special to the group. You know, one person can't do it all. Our kindred, we could throw us all out in the woods.
We'd survive.
We would start a new community.
Without a doubt in my mind, we would build a luscious longhouse.
Oh, yeah.
And all just have these amazing lives where we wouldn't even fucking miss this society one bit.
I've missed the internet. That's about it.
And eventually we can get that back.
Right.
That's fair.
You know, but there's a lot of groups out there that would probably die on the first night.
Of starvation and cold.
Yeah. But again, if you're lone wolfing it, you're going to be screwed regardless because you're not going to be able to do everything that you need to do.
Right.
And with the internet and with like our Facebook page and with Instagram and all these things, even if you want to be by yourself in the sense of practice and worship, you don't need to be by yourself in the sense of learning and a community. The community's out there. You don't have to be a member of Midgards Well. You do not have to oath into our group to be able to enjoy the information that we're throwing out there. That's why we're putting it on YouTube. Because we want everyone to feel like they're a part of this community. Because you are.
And we have weird schedules, and it does not fit with the rest of the people in the community.
Yeah.
So we film these at night.
It's currently 10:15 on a Saturday night.
No, it's a Monday. At 5:45, it's just dark.
Roll dark.
We're actually in Alaska.
It's dark winter.
You don't know anything, Jon Snow.
But yeah, no, with heathenry as a true Norse paganism, whatever, it draws a lot of type A's. And that's why we have such an issue getting people together, because everybody has to be my way. And they don't want to hear other people.
Yeah, and you just proved an amazing point right there by saying how many different titles this fucking religion has. Because people like, oh, I'm not a Sachu, I'm foreign seed. What's the fucking difference? There isn't one. We practice the old ways. It's like when people are like, that's not a bastard sword, that's a long sword. You know what they called them in the medieval times? A sword. It didn't have a special name. It's not how these things work. We are followers of the Norse pantheon. Boom.
We had
Black and
discussed
white.
a couple years ago that we should just make the switch to calling it Norse paganism, because that encompasses every title.
Yep.
That's exactly what I tell people when they ask. Because mostly I'm tired of the deer in the headlight look when you say "also true." So it's Norse pagan. It's as broad a term as you can get.
Yeah. The paganism lets people know that you're not a Christian and you do not follow any of the monotheistic ways. And Norse lets them know, Norse. Oh, so like Thor and stuff. Like, yes, exactly, like Thor and stuff. He's not blonde, he's redheaded, but whatever.
He's also not Loki's brother.
We can get onto that in an entire... Yeah, that's its own beautiful conversation.
That would
Which
be
will
guest
hopefully be-
starring
yeah,
Justin.
that'll be
It's
guest
not going to be
starring
this one.
Justin.
It's not going to be this. He already asked not to.
Yeah, he just wanted to hang out, but...
Yeah.
But to your point, yeah, it does bring in a lot of Type A personalities, and that's fine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Our
I'm not
kindred
knocking
is
it.
full of them.
I'm a type C.
Oh, yeah.
But
I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm going to say I'm type A because I'm first.
First among equals.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Shut up, Acorn.
1 plus 1 equals me.
but you have to know that not all Type A's are leaders. It's
Yeah.
just not
You're just an asshole.
right.
You're a type asshole. Type A people, and just straight up, just all types of human beings out there. It's hard for us in this modern society that we've very harshly forced ourselves into to be an individual, because the individual is now cast out. The individual is pariah, and we don't accept that. We accept the individual here because the individual brings their own skills and strengths, like you were saying earlier, and it just makes the group that much more powerful.
Yeah.
And imagine if we could get it together on a nation-wide size, the abilities that our entire community would have.
We could take over Rhode Island.
We would be in the...
We could storm Rhode Island and start a new community.
And the beautiful thing about it, though, is with that kind of a community built, we would be in the Senate. We could have a heathen in the White House.
Yeah.
We could have it to where the point where the world looks at us as an example for modern paganism. Fuck all the other stuff. Because honestly, there's so much bipartyism and fighting and infighting and hatred just spewed among...
Identity politics.
Right. Let's work on ourselves. Let's be heathens again and part of a bigger family. I've always had that dream of marching a heathen army on the Vatican. Not with violence, but just to demand we want our holidays back. We want our Remembrance Days back. Give us back the 25th of Christmas, because Jesus wasn't fucking born then.
He was born in March.
Right. All the gold, all the power that these places hold and that they have taken from we, the normal people, give it back to us. And it's not going to happen until we all work together. And we have to all have the same passion. But that passion is not to lead. That passion is to become one. And eventually a leader will be spurred out of that. As much as I like to lead and as much as my ego gets in my way sometimes, I understand that if I'm nothing more than a stepping stone for my children or my friends on the path of greatness, I'll still go down in history, so who cares?
Yeah.
The path we walk is rough and it's hard and it makes us stronger people, and that's the beauty of it. an easy life isn't worth living because an easy life just makes you an easy person.
Right.
And easy people get fucked over a lot.
They do.
I was trying to remember what I was going to say. Because you hit a really good point during your little monologue there.
Ugh.
And I had something to add to it, and I lost it.
If I was still a Christian, you'd hear me, and then...
It would be amazing to get back to the point where, we could actually have people worthy of, the title of Son of Ragnar.
Right.
Unfortunately, we're products of this of this day and age.
Yep.
But
no more children of hairy pants.
right.
Yeah.
But it's out there. There's a chance. There's always an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
And it just takes moments like this where equal-minded people come
I
together.
remember what I was going to say. Right now, this nation lets politics tear it apart like nobody's business. It is ridiculous. However, one thing that we pride ourselves on is our kindred is almost split down the middle numbers-wise on where everybody falls on the spectrum.
Yep.
However, we couldn't care less. Sometimes we'll have political discussions. Most times we choose not to because it just gets us nowhere.
Right.
And there's better things to do than discuss policies that we can't even affect. It's just going to affect us because, like it or not, the people that are representing us don't actually represent us. They don't have our best interest in
Telling you,
mind.
government people need to wear NASCAR outfits so we can see who the fuck pays them.
Amen. So, I mean, bringing people, if you can get past the political divide, bringing people together is actually very easy now. It's so easy as, hey, what's your favorite TV show?
And especially
that's how I
in this
became best
religion.
friends with one of the clients.
In this religion, there's so many amazing things to talk about that have nothing to do with political values.
But so many people make it political, it's ridiculous.
Right. It has nothing to do with politics. Politics are something that you fight about only in a democratic society. And in a true democratic society, politics don't even actually flow the way they work here.
Well, because we're a republic, technically.
Right. We have a republic, capitalist, fucking all kinds of weird shit going on right now. And it works in some ways, and it's wonderful, and it makes things happen. And it fucks over small people, and small businesses, and money owners, and stuff like that in another way. It's just this constant back and forth. But the beauty of it is after we have our lovely conversations about politics, if they do come up, we're able to look at each other and say, but this is my opinion, and you are entitled to yours, so I am happy that you gave me your viewpoint, and we will move on as brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And we hug it out and have a good time.
We've never thrown fists because of our different political opinions.
Well, we've thrown fists, but we've not thrown fists.
Right. We've that's what I was thinking.
No, when we were discussing it with the other night with Erica and Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I did when you were like, yeah, she's libertarian. I was like, with my guns.
But we don't go home that night and unfriend each other on Facebook.
We don't unfollow each other on Facebook
we
because
don't
of
block, we don't remove, we don't delete comments.
We don't troll.
it. Right. Okay, the freaking trolling thing.
Oh god, it's trolls. We need more troll crosses.
But no, okay, my beef is with certain B types who think they're A types going around whenever somebody has a disagreement with how they run things or with their thoughts on things and they just want to have a civil conversation. Like, we had a point where Mike and I were trying to have a genuine conversation over freaking string theory with this specific individual, and starts calling us trolls. Now, granted, we were using Mike's phone. Mine was dead. So we were using Mike's phone to respond to him on Facebook, and next thing you know, the post is gone. It's been reposted in a different group that Mike's not in, and he's being called out as a troll, and we're sitting there like, just because you don't believe in string theory doesn't mean we couldn't have had a civil conversation about this.
If you don't believe in string theory, then you have not read very much of anything about what our ancient ancestors believed in.
And I mean, that's part of the problem with this community is just that right there. The unwillingness to listen to other people's opinions, to be able to grow and actually understand this religion and how it should work better.
Yeah.
Freaking trolls, man. However, I do support the use of socks. Socks provide a fantastic service. And I realize you guys are giving me the look of what the hell is a sock.
It's a good
Yeah,
cum
it's
catcher.
this right here. Suck.
Sock is a throwaway Facebook account or social media account in general, run by somebody who is providing a free service, especially to heathens, to ask questions in heathen-centric groups anonymously on their behalf.
I'm gone. Come find me, bitch. I'll fight you. That's why I can't be a sock.
Why are you doxing?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. So that's another problem we're encountering now is one of the people we actually really like watching, Midgards Musing. He recently was swatted during one of his live videos.
And it sucks you can't even tell who it's from. It could be a Lokius, it could be a Christian, it could just be someone who's like, ha ha, funny. It's not. It's not funny because it's like you're breaking the law, you're doing something wrong. It's just not funny because the only thing you get out of it is causing another person strife and making their death and just making their life difficult. And that is the most Lokiest bullshit chaos I've ever heard of in my life. And I will punch you in the face.
I was going to say, if that ever happens on one of our, while we're having one of our kindred nights, I will find you. And I will bury an axe in your skull.
Oh, and we know most of the police around here anyway, so they don't give a fuck.
And I mean, I had a point, damn it.
But the doxing.
Yeah, no, it's...
Well, in doxing alone...
okay, I remembered it, sorry.
That's fucking dumb.
So with the swatting, not only are you disrupting somebody's life, not only are you going out of your way to be a dick, you're potentially putting this person's life at risk. Mm-hmm. And if you're sitting over here being all, well, it's a Loki thing to do and I'm a Lokiist, so whatever. Bitch.
Ugh. Makes me sick just thinking about it.
So,
right?
For the people who may not follow Midgards Musing and might not know what the term swatting is.
Oh, yes. To swat somebody is whilst they're doing a live stream, or honestly, whenever, you either crack their a certain code upon their computer through illegal means of hacking, or knowing them personally, which is even lower, and you call a SWAT team or you call the police on them saying there is an extremely dangerous, narcotic, or violent crime going on, in which the police show up, as they should, doing their job, and they will forcefully enter your home, and they will try to arrest you for what they think is going on. Now, it never ends in an arrest, because of course they look around, they talk to the guy and realize, oh God, it happened again.
But there was one that ended in a death, because a rookie ended up in there, and they were told that this guy had a gun and was shooting people and things like that within his own home. And so the rookie entered. I think he mistook the keyboard or something. It was bad, and it ended in a death. And I thought that was going to be the end of swatting, and apparently it's not, because we all got to watch the live stream of it happen to Midgards Musing.
Yeah. And to Midgards Musing, let us know if you need any help. If for some reason they're in the Midwest area, we'll find them. Not saying we'll do anything,
what you do,
because we understand legality.
Yeah.
But we'll let you know who they are.
And we understand he's filing police reports and stuff, so we're hoping for his sake and the community's sake that something will come of it. And doxing as well, like that, it got out of hand for a hot minute there, but it makes me nervous doing things like this.
Right.
Because who's to say when we have these conversations, especially when we're like, fuck politics, that's enough, stop, we don't need it. Who's going to stand up and be like, well, you should have politics need to be in your life. You know what, I'm going to tell your boss that you're anti-politics and you're heathen, and that you're anti-Christian.
Yeah.
And you live in the Bible Belt, you going to get fired.
Not only fire is the fire, you're going to get shoved up your asshole every time. Fucking Nephilim.
But see, that's one of my fears, is that we're going to post something that is controversial in some sense, like the talk on the afterlife that we're planning on doing.
That's going to be a big one.
And the suicide one as well.
Yeah.
Yep. And I have fears that somebody's going to be an asshole about it and dox us over it. And it's just...
And for those who might not know what doxing is, it is more or less a fact of name, location, and like address, stuff like that, demanded from somebody to be brought out by somebody else upon the internet. With GPS and geo-tracking and all that, it's not near impossible to do, but it's a weak man's game.
Yep.
It's like you are the ultimate keyboard warrior. It takes you to a whole new level of being an absolute little bitch.
See, aren't these roundtable discussions so much fun?
Right.
Well, and you know, it's a real man who has an issue with something that we're discussing or our beliefs. A real man will come and say it to our face.
And we have so
that
many
doesn't
ways
even have
to
to
do
be
it.
a man either. I just, in case
In
any of our
case.
female viewers,
If there's something you want to get all butthurt about,
come talk to us. That's what the comment section's for. We don't disable it
and
for
if,
a reason.
right, and if you don't want to put it as a public, if
Yeah,
you don't
like,
want,
comment, subscribe.
if you don't want to make it a public comment, Facebook, Instagram,
Email.
PM, DM, email, just get a hold.
Midgardswell@gmail.com. It's super easy.
Yeah, get a hold of us. We want to hear from you to know what you are thinking, so we can have a conversation. Keyword there is conversation, which means both sides get to express themselves, and no one walks away from it feeling defeated.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not easy, but it's the right thing to do. There's no reason for us to be at each other's throats. You cut any human open, they bleed red.
Yes.
Christian, heathen, male, female, Asian, African, Russian, Scandinavian, we all bleed the same blood. We all breathe the same air.
We're all dying from the same air.
Shit.
I heard that guess.
That stays in the video.
Don't worry, we weren't swatted.
We're just talking about swatting and doxing and stuff.
KCPD knocks, and they knock loud.
Yeah,
Yes.
they do.
And
Oh,
it wouldn't be hard to do either, because we say we're in Kansas City like every video.
that's true.
Oh.
So now I'm new to the peanut gallery. Roundtable discussion now
ideas.
welcomes one of the other members.
Of the peanut gallery.
Or you can sit down. It's up to him. Whatever.
Yeah, it's up to him. That means he's got to figure out a way around our contraption right
Yeah.
now.
Do you still have a time limit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm timing it on my watch because I'm smart. I finally remembered I had a timer.
That's how much we think about everybody. And we want to make sure you guys get the best out of our videos. This might be one of the longest ones because the roundtable discussions are going to be longer videos anyway.
Yep.
Because it's just a tangent.
Because we keep
Who
going
opened
off
that
the
door for
point.
Chris?
Well, no, it's honestly probably mostly me this time.
Yeah.
Because I keep getting really passionate about this fucking subject.
Do you have any?
I can't
So
believe we're doing
right. Well, we were talking about all things and how like there really can't be one because so many people want to be the leader instead of just understanding that there is a leader in an all thing, or you can't have. Not everyone in a group can just be a chieftain or just be the man in charge. So it's gonna be very hard for us to have a all thing that's actually all of North America coming together to decide rules and logistical things.
For all of North America, yeah, that's a big good luck.
Yeah. I would ever imagine a Texan heathen to want to listen
along
to
with, like, a
anyone.
Washington heathen.
Right.
Brian
I
Hicks
can
gets head in
see,
shame.
you know,
I'm not a Washington heathen.
I know. No, because you know what I'm saying, though, and you're just like, yeah.
it would really have to be, it has to start somewhere,
Yep.
starting an all thing, and it has to be a slow dialogue until something can be agreed on. But like Chris says in several of the videos, you get 6 heathens and 12 opinions in one room.
Yeah.
Only this time it's 3 and 11.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
The numbers always change, and they usually get more. I wouldn't say
Extreme.
exaggerated because it's
it
just
used
true.
to be you get 4 heathens in a room and get 5 opinions, and now it's just
Well,
a massive.
this is why anytime we start spouting numbers, we all look at the floor.
But
That's great.
it's very much in the sense of, and it kind of goes back to that with the swatting and doxing and just demanding things out of people. It's these lone wolves out there who think that they get to be in charge of everything because their opinions matter more than anyone else's. Well, that's not how, even in a voting system in this country, that works. Majority rules. And if the majority of us have an idea or an opinion on something, then it should be followed. Now, if you want to have a difference of that opinion, then go to the Althing and conversate about it.
Now, I know we've touched on politics, and I'm just going to clarify something real quick.
Hanging on the wall.
Because you said majority rule, which is technically correct. However, a lot of people don't take into the fact, because I know this is where it's going to go in the comments. If anybody does comment, that's why I'm clarifying. The Electoral College is a necessary evil. When you have most of the population within, 5 cities, it's not fair for the rest of us. We are not one of those 5 cities. Our vote won't count if we don't have the Electoral College.
But in the heathen community,
Yes.
the beautiful thing is we don't have an electoral college. We want to hear what people have to say. Get your elected leader, send him to an Althing, and he represents you. If he doesn't, then fucking punch him when he gets back and send somebody else next year.
Or if you find out he's
Month.
not, then send someone immediately,
Right,
and
yeah,
you know,
fucking do it.
home gong that shit.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest reason why you send not only a chieftain, but also a
Thule or whatever.
a thule.
But that's Anglo-Saxon. I don't know what the actual Norse word is.
Well, we need law speakers. We need people from the communities that understand the laws of the old and can correlate them and breed them perfectly into the laws of the new world.
Right.
That's gonna be huge. Because like even Kansas City has 9 kindreds.
Something like that.
Getting one representative for just Kansas City, that's not gonna happen.
Sadly, no.
But if we were able to become a mostly cohesive community,
then the rest of them are just outliers and more or less like bandits and reavers who just refuse to follow the rules anyway.
Yeah.
but
When
if
there are-
we were able to get everybody together cohesively, then it would be, okay, this person has the most experience. We can recognize they have the most experience. They have the most ability to, the best ability to talk to other people and understand their point of view, as well as bring our point of view forward. If we could become cohesive and be able to, as a community, recognize at least 1 or 2 people to be able to do that, we'd be fine. 9 kindreds, that's not a bad thing. I feel sorry for the places that have 30 or 50. They'd have a problem finding 1 person.
Well, then would it be better in that scenario to send 1 from each kindred?
It could, but then you're talking about having so many mouths to speak.
10,000 people.
Easily.
Yeah. And that kind of goes into the fact, though, of, well, I have it in my head. What were you going to say?
It would have to be a similar situation like the Electoral College where, you've got your Kansas City representative who goes to the Midwest Althing. The Midwest meets with the Southwest, meets with the West, meets with the East, meets with the North, right? And then those 6 people come together. But there are so many groups who talk about all the time. It's like, no, we don't need a book. We don't need a single standard of rules. Everyone's different, right? There's so many people who want to stay tribal and don't want something unified, and that it's those, and there's a large number of them. Then that's part of the issue too. That's why these tattoos have to go, because some of those tribalistic and the nationalistic people and that's a whole other tangent.
Yeah. Well, maybe then from there it'd be almost more of a beautiful thing to, again, live stream the Althing. So people can write in. If we get, so many comments on the same subject, then the people are like, oh, hey, we're noticing the comment section is, the chat is freaking out about this. All right, we will address it right now. Talk about it, and they're like, all right, so now that we've talked about it, does that settle the issue with the chat? Do the people who are talking to us now feel like they've been represented in this matter?
And I mean, I think if you take it back to the fact that people want to stay tribal and separate as well, if we just find things that we can all agree on common ground-wise, like, hey, pedophilia is bad.
Nazis are bad.
Nazis are bad. Maybe let's shun the white supremacists and stop allowing them to use our religion as part of their whole image.
Let's make sure we can get the runes out of the fucking gang sign enlistments and stuff.
FBI danger symbol list or something like that.
And we have the technology now to literally get the entire heathen world to look at what we're doing. And trust me, I know most heathens have internet access, because that is the most bickering group I've ever met in my life.
Joe.
The largest collection of the keyboard warriors.
Depending on where you go. But I feel like a lot of the groups that, especially you and I are in, it isn't, strictly heathen. So I feel like it's mostly the Wiccans we're getting the bullshit
have
from.
You read the comments?
Let's start
on
this
attack
fight.
posts recently?
Let's
Stop.
do this.
What? What did it happen? What?
I said, have you not read any comments on attack posts recently?
No, because they're not showing up in my feed. I don't know what. I don't know what's happening.
There's other pages too, like Heathens Against Hate. That's all heathens.
Well, yeah.
And there's some interesting stuff shared there.
Yeah.
But with a lot of the groups that I'm in specifically that are heathen centric, we've got atheists and Catholics in there trying to decide how we should practice.
Yeah, no.
That doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
If you're atheist, you don't have a say. If you're Catholic,
Way wrong. You took away left at Albuquerque. Homie.
And that's where a lot of the bickering comes from, is them. They're sitting here starting to try shit with us or start shit with us and between us because we think
And that's why we need an Althing in person.
Yep.
Fuck the Russian bots. Fuck the other religions who are just trying to make their way into ours and just talk about stuff. Well, I like history and I like Viking stuff too. But you're not a heathen. There's a difference.
you know, even something as simple as just getting some group from all parts of the country. It doesn't even have to be like a recognized Althing, but just get people from all over the country in one spot. Let's create some book, something, right, that comes together. That way we can at least show the government, like, no, this is the religion, man.
Yeah.
We had no hate.
if not for the sake of a 501c3 for everybody. That would make sense for that.
Well, then would it be better than to start off on a citywide scale? You know, not go for Althing right off the bat, but doing a Kansas City thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, giving everyone enough time to be able to plan on attending or sending a representative.
Yeah.
And building on that, each year expand it out further and further. Get the outlying cities around Kansas City, go further. Get Columbia.
Now it's a
Springfield.
Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska thing.
Yeah.
Now it's a Kansas City.
No, it's a Midwest thing.
Yeah, now it's a Midwest thing. Now it becomes a Eastern, Midwestern thing, and then we get the South, then we get the North, then we get a bit of Canada. Like, it can grow, and it can grow beautifully and well. I mean, again, you don't have to fly to you can Skype into it. That's technology we have now. There's not a reason at all to think that if our ancestors didn't have the ability to not leave their home and go to the Althing, that they wouldn't have. They would have been like, I'm going to do this in my underwear, and it's going to be great.
I think on an annual basis, it'd be more appropriate to call it a moot, and like every 9 years is the Althing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's an Althing, again, it's making up laws and order and settling huge disputes.
Yeah.
The moot, or the normal thing between the cities or the states, that's for people to hash out their small petty shit. The Althing is to be like, okay, well, we're all going to take a stance on this. If you do this, you are no longer a part of us, and you will be shunned. Like you said,
I wish it
pedophilia.
would stick, though, because the last time somebody was like, these people are shunned, it didn't stick.
The only group I've ever seen
Hung
stick towards is the AFA.
That
Yeah,
stuck
that's-
pretty hard.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
Because there's some fucking white supremacists.
No, there's a local group here that was supposed to be shunned, and anybody who associates with them cannot associate with anybody on the national scale. It's not stick.
Well.
And that's how I got introduced to heathenry. Found that out. That was like my third thing I found out.
There's a lot that needs to be done, but it has to start somewhere.
Yep.
If it starts in the comment section, it starts here in these videos. If it starts just with the YouTube, that's something. And we're going to keep pushing and keep posting and keep doing what we can to eventually get to the point where we have the ability to sit down with the rest of the world and conversate.
Yeah.
The beautiful dream, of course, is to end up where we have the Icelandic representative, the North American representative, the South American representative. Each continent, each main part of the hemisphere gets its own representative, and they literally, in all meaning of the words, hash all the bullshit out.
But would you not fear that this would actually produce an Azapope?
100%.
Something on this scale? Yeah.
That's the problem with humans. Eventually, one person is charismatic enough to take over. And it worked out a lot easier back in our ancestors' days because it was Norway, Sweden. It was the Scandinavian areas. It wasn't the entire world.
I think it'd have to be very, very well structured in the organization. right? Where to prevent an isopop, like there has to be one person guiding everything so we don't get too far off topic and bring everyone back in. Basically, who's got the fishing pole, bringing everyone back in, right? But they are also not allowed to speak on law. You know, some sort of like bylaw on that. Like if you're running this thing, all you can do is just herd cats.
Right.
Right.
We need the
neutral
Volvos.
speaker on in neutral territory. You know.
We need the Volvos, the law speakers, and then the people, the chieftains or such of the Althing. You need the spiritual leader to remind us all of what we're actually here to do and how we can appease the gods and honor ourselves. Then you need the law speaker who understands the laws of the entire world, the base laws that we all follow, you know, golden rule kind of stuff. Yeah. Don't be a dick. And then you need it's almost like the three branches. You need the law speaker is like the judicial. The Volva is a bit more like the...
Don't help him.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Shut up.
I want to see if he comes up with something else.
I didn't know. I didn't know if the Volva would be judicial or legislative. But then you get the other two branches.
Well,
shut up.
Chieftain would be executive. Only left is legislative.
No, you had it right. You were doing well. And then you said the other two branches. I was like, oh, you were so close.
But yes, we would need that kind of a system to set things up.
Yeah.
Because again, you need the Volvas and you need the Sita practitioners and the Gethias and Gothis to establish the spiritual law. And then you need the law speakers to understand the laws of the world, of humankind. And you need the chieftains and the members of the Althing that are there to lead to showcase the problems and solve them through the spiritual and law aspects. So in a way, we have a good system. It just needs twerked to just exactly the heathen community. Twerk is a real fucking word. It doesn't mean tweak and twerk. My family's from Alabama. It's a crick, all right.
I knew you were about to say that.
Crick and a worsher.
Throw it in the wash.
We're from Missouri.
Yeah, from Missouri.
That's how you know if you're actually in Missouri and talking to a true Missourian. At some point, once they reach 50, they say Missouri.
And it's misery.
Right? It's just, whatever. Well,
that's just one of the things we gotta start getting back into. After, like, with the all things, and that's great. But again, we gotta bring together that community. And that community starts sitting around a fire, telling the stories of our gods and of our people. And just feeling the passion and imbuing ourselves into those old stories and feeling the majesty and the glorious power that comes from sharing moments like that with other people.
absolutely. I'm just not a performer, so I don't want to do it in front of a bunch of strangers.
I can talk forever.
He can. We've cut out a lot of the video. You don't even know. So, I mean...
Thumbs up if you want me to start my own channel just to talk to you guys. It'll be a 24/7, 365 stream.
We're getting 0 likes on this fucking video. Thank you, Christopher.
That's what that is.
This would.
If we get 0 likes because of me, I know we didn't get any likes because of me.
Alright, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
But these are the things to expect from the roundtable discussions. We're here to have fun, we're here to make each other laugh, and we're here just to talk. To you, with you, and with us.
Fucking
Absolutely.
at you. It's a camera.
And if you have any ideas on topics, please throw them in the comments section.
Oh, please
Smash
don't.
the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so that you get notified when we release a video.
Or
We
Monday.
put new videos out every Monday.
5:45.
So then, and thank you for drinking from the well.